name is Abhishek Bij. I'm partner at Design Plus Architects. Design Plus was established in 1981 by my father, Mr. Arun Bij. So it's been more than 40 years. Over the course of the last 4 decades, we've kind of witnessed a variation in the kind of projects that we're dealing with, also the kind of patronage we're dealing with. However, what's happening now for the last, I think, over a decade, that we're trying to carve a niche out into 2-3 specific programs. So we're very strong in our educational portfolio. And the other thing that we're trying to develop very strongly is our sports portfolio. So be it stadiums, indoor sports complexes, sports clubs, recreational grounds. So that's the architecture side of things. Having said that, the portfolio also is blessed with housing and commercials and retail projects as well. On the interior side, we are specifically focusing on 2 programs, which is F&B is one. So we're doing lots of cafes, restaurants, nightclubs, and the other aspect is the community clubs. So a one composite building which houses retail functions, F&B functions, a gym, sauna, a bit of sports. And this kind of helps because this sort of a club also ties back in a larger endeavor of sports development. Say in the last 5-6 years, we've got lots of projects that fulfill these niche target areas that Design Plus is focusing on. Today, I just want to discuss one of our projects. This is Bhartiya Bhavan in New Delhi. Very interesting project on KG Marg, so very prominent location. So the exciting part for us was the fact that the Bhavan Delhi Kendra had few buildings already existing on site. So there was a Hathi Sadan, there was a Mehta Sadan, there was a AICT block, and built across periods of time as well. So 1967 में एक खत्म हुआ, फिर 90s में दूसरा खत्म हुआ, and 2006 was the last block. So when we approached the client and we were discussing the brief, the primary requirement was that the population of the institute has grown. There are many more programs they've added to the project, and hence they require a new addition to the campus. And this was probably be the last addition because the FAR was running out. So about 1.25 lakh square feet of built up space plus basements were being proposed. Brief was very simple from the client that we want to rejig our program. Currently what's happening, the school is using part of the AICT block, AICT's block using some part of the Mehta Sadan, and so on and so forth. It's all over, the programs are all over. So at least if we build primarily a school building, the 10+2 requirements can be looked after, and if we can add additional floors to the AICT block. So the post-grad programs or vocation school can run on its own, and it's not mixing with the school. There are security concerns, and of course classroom requirements are different, AV requirements are different, so it was just a bit of a chaotic structure right now. The brief was very simple. However, when we started working on the project, there are a few things that started both exciting us and scaring us. It was very anxious. First of all, 3 generations, very popular buildings, and जो पहला Mehta Sadan था, it had its own design language. It was respecting kind of the curvature of the roundabout in front of it. White building with embellishments, very ornamental time from that era. Then there was this beautiful geometric exposed brick building. AICT block kind of carried on with that material and texture onto themselves. But we had to now add another layer after a decade of the last building. What do you do? Design style, what do you do? Material, what do you do? And also for us, this building would have to work with both the buildings. So it has to take some program from here, give some program there. So we relied on, let's not try and burden anything alien. Let's look at what's available at the site. So as far as geometry was concerned, that was an easier solution because the land left to us was only a linear rectangle. So at least that burden was off us. You could only do this much. However, what we were also doing was if we built the building, we were taking away the play areas from the kids. There were already some playpen for the younger tot lot. So we divided the building into 2 segments, raised one segment and gave stilts, and that way the kids play. So you take away some and you provide it back. So this is an idea of democratic space. So even if you're trying to contribute in a built indoor environment, you're taking away the outdoor environment. So how do you give back that outdoor environment? So we created a little tot lot there. The left side, which is raised, was also raised in a way so that optimized the connection with the Hathi Sadan. So the floor levels match very closely. And because this right wing was supposed to match the building of AICT, and all it requires was a couple of 5-6 steps down between each of them. So, geometrically you are plugging into these old buildings. What we did was that we borrowed materials from both Hathi Sadan and AICT blocks. The beautiful concrete molded jalis, the terracotta tiles, the ceramic tiles in certain areas. We were fortunate enough that the client also let us add few elements that were missing from Hathi Sadan. So the new elements of the concrete jali that we put on the new block were also installed in the Hathi Sadan. So now the buildings are even together. And AICT block also had additions of couple of floors. So the client let us play with the elevations of the existing buildings as well, so that the entire complex now sits together. And the Mehta Sadan, which is the original one, sits in its own glory, and because it's the oldest building. Project's been over for a few years, but coincidentally now Mehta Sadan is going through renovation. So we're doing the interior renovation of Mehta Sadan. You can't touch it personally. It's a beautiful example of a very old design philosophy of genius loci, that you respect the spirit of the place. So we honestly think that the spirit of the place required that building to be in that form with those materials. I genuinely believe if we get the building certified, it's gonna at least be gold. This is again tying back to the fact that how ethically you get the orientations right. Play with the material, play with the orientations, play with the direction. So you get passively you're able to generate a green building. So the brief is definitely looked after. It's created these little cute little courtyards in the middle of all the new buildings now. So it's helping as a gathering space, and definitely the environment is much more cooler in those areas. So that's another conscious thought. The client was very happy with the development. They even gave us then extended our contract to develop their sports infrastructure, which is the balance outdoor that was left, because you can't build anymore on that land. We maxed out the FAR. And like I said, after a couple of years, they come back for us to renovate the building that was left in first go. So it's exciting. It's good to be part of such a culturally, educationally strong group, and they respect you for the work that you did, and they're coming back with new requirements. The renovation job is like minuscule. I mean, it's nothing about, I think, 10,000-12,000 square feet of renovation. But again, this is the respect that they give mostly my father, because he was working with the senior management. It's a cute story. Bhartiya Vidya, as you might be aware, is being run by people who are retired IAS officers who are contributing their time. It's not for the salary that they draw. I think the director doesn't even draw a single penny out of. So it's a cute circle of these 70 plus old men and women who are running the show in the management. So during Corona, when we were discussing the projects a few times, it took half an hour to get them onto the Zoom call. And my dad was the youngest person on the Zoom call. But yeah, we're very happy. It went on quite smoothly, and we are happy that the patronage exists. Also, they gave us another big project in Bharwari to develop a university for themselves. That project is still on the drawing board. We are in the concept stage of that. We also develop concept designs for a BBB in Palampur for these guys. So it's a returning client. We're quite excited.